Hey, welcome back to the table. So we're getting ready to do some gameplay. There were two things I forgot to talk about during setup. The first one is that these little white tokens are landmark tokens, and these are swamp, and you have to draw one swamp for each player, and then the swamp goes in the well source location that's closest to your fortress. This was our closest one, and that's their closest one, because they had spires that were already in place that were covering up the closer spots. And then for every additional well source that's out there, you randomize all the tokens, swamps plus everything else, and you put one there, which I did. Now there is one special token, that's this one. See, it's got that little symbol there, and it's Ancient Traxir, if I pronounce that correctly. This guy only comes out on when the scenario specifically calls out for it, so you never use him when you're doing setup. And that's even for multiplayer games. Now, the other thing I forgot to do are these black tokens here. These are your market tokens. You're supposed to have one plus the number of players in the game, so 3 market tokens. I drew a hero token, which per the game rules, we're not allowed to have any additional heroes in the game. So I automatically discarded this and replaced it with another one. I don't know if I'm supposed to do that. The rules don't say. But since this is like impossible to play in the game, I thought it was pointless to have it as one of the items in the market. So I took the executive decision to discard him back, and then I just drew 3 that I could actually use in the game. This one is an equipment token, and it gives me Back to the Future ability, which basically means I get to go twice in one turn. And then these 2 are spires that I can build. They're special spires that I can use. All right, so let's get to our scenario. I think I went over the objectives and whatnot, but just to remind folks real quick, one of our objectives is just to take out this tower by itself. Another objective is to take out all 4. And then the third objective, and the one that immediately ends the game, is if we take out the fortress. Their objective is if they kill our hero or if they take our fortress. Either of those causes us to lose. And remember, Darb is here, but he's not actually considered to be in the game. He's just here collecting and building up upgrades. He comes in the game in wave 3. All right. So we roll the event die. So let's do that. Where's the die? Up here. So I roll a 1, and that adds an attack upgrade to Darb. So Darb already has 1 attack upgrade, now he has 2. So in this case, Darb would do 3 damage if he were to hit anybody. All right, sorry for the camera flop there. And the next thing we do is we gain our income. So remember I told you it's really nice to keep this book handy. So you go through the phases. We did the event phase, which was a die roll instead of drawing an event card, which is normally how the rules work. You ignore these incomes here and you use the incomes that are there. And so we go to the income phase, we gain source, we get 0. So since we have no source, we can't spend anything in the market and we can't spend anything during build. The market phase, of course, is when you can buy these items. And just to give you a close-up here, this would cost 5 source, for example, to build that. And then this particular equipment is 3 source. Right? Now this here, these are all called isles, or islands, if you will. Isles, I-S-L-E-S. I call them hex grids, but they're isles. So when you see that terminology in a game, that's what it's referring to. And then these are like special isles that we can, like I explained, you can buy them and you can put them over top of terrain that is already there. This costs 2 source to purchase. And the one advantage you get when you buy an isle like this is, see this little source well? You get to build a tower there for free and don't have to spend any of the source cost for it. So you do get to, well, a spire, not a tower. I will use those terms interchangeably, and I apologize. So yes, that's what that is. And you do this more during the build phase than you do during the, it's not something you do for the market. Or or maybe you get this for the market, but then you build here for the build phase. We'd have to look that up. I didn't pay that much particular attention to it, largely because it's not going to help us. We have no source. We can't buy these, we can't buy that. And in the end of the day, there's all these phases of the game that we're just skipping. And that's pretty common for a first scenario of any new game that you're playing, right? So we're going to get now to what's called the prep phase. And there's a couple of things that we need to notice here. The first one is that for wave 1, we are always the first player. And then during the prep phase, we get 5 CP, which I think is combat points, combat purchase. It doesn't matter, we get 5 CP. And then they produce a Harrier, Harrier, Harrier. And see these little asterisks? That means it's a promoted Harrier. And see the brackets? So all 3 Harriers are inside of brackets. That means they're going to be as a single group. Remember, you can be grouped or ungrouped. So let's do theirs first, just because that's easier to do. So we're going to grab 3 Harriers, which is all the Harriers in the game, and make sure that they're on their promoted side, which is the star. So that's done. And you can see here that they all have 2 health, but since they're grouped together, you're only going to grab 2 health once, because they're going to basically move as a stack, and only the top guy is going to attack and defend, and when the top guy is killed, then the next guy will trigger, and so forth. So that's what they're doing. They're moving as a single stack unit. And, oh, what else is there to say about this? There really isn't anything else to say. Let's go ahead and put this here, and that's how they're deploying, is like that. So that's what they're going to be coming at us with, are these 3 Harriers. The big thing to note is they have quick strike, which means that they attack before the Spires do. We don't have any Spires, so their ability is not going to be very helpful for them this particular phase. And they move 4 spaces, so they're very quick moving, and that could be problematic. Now, we get 5 CPs, and so we have to decide what are we going to purchase. All right, so I'm trying to get the camera set up here in a way that, oh, I'm zoomed in. That's part of the issue. Okay, so the Forsaken here have 7 health. They do 4 damage. They're basically uber strong, but this Unruly ability is pretty annoying. You're gonna have to roll a die at the start of their turn, and they could refuse to attack or refuse to move as a result. So it's a little annoying. We can't afford them. That costs 7 CP. We only have 5. We could buy an Aegis for 4, and just so you know, there is no such thing as saving leftover CP. So if we buy this for 4 and we can't spend that final CP, we just lose it. The nice thing about this guy is he's armored, which means that if somebody hits him, he absorbs the first damage all the time, and he does 2 damage back. He is low health, but you know, with him being armored, I guess that's okay. There's also the Battleborn here that does 1 damage. Mindy, stop. Sorry, my dog is seeing somebody outside and being a little noisy. So this one does 1 damage, and he only costs 2 CP. And then this one also only does 1 damage, and he costs 3 CP. He has 2 range, which makes him sort of nice, because he can hit from far away. So that's our options here. I really see only 2 options. I don't think I want to build an Architect yet. Architects have a special use, but we're either going to build one of these, and then we lose a CP, or we're going to build both of these, and I'm going to go ahead and do both of these. I just want to try it out. I don't know if it's smart of me to do. And then our biggest decision is, do we want to group them or not group them? If we group them, the one with the lowest movement points has to be on top, which in this case they're tied, so we get to choose. So we can choose to have the range guy on top, and then when the range guy dies, this guy takes over. I think the idea of why this is sort of nice is that he's basically protected. And you can treat it, it's almost as if he has 6 hit points now, because the dispatch is going to take all the damage while this guy's floating through. The part that hurts about these guys is they only do 1 damage, and you can see here that these particular yellow ones take 2 damage. So these guys can't hurt those spires, but I don't have any expectation they're going to make it that far in this first wave. So that's why I think I'm okay with this. And so I'm going to put them in a group just like the enemy did. And we're going to group them up like this. We could have them move separately from each other. Do I want to do that? I'm thinking. The advantage of having them move separate from each other is that they both get to attack at the same time. So he can do 1 damage and he can do 1 damage all in the same turn. There's something to be said about that. Let's try it and see how it turns out. So we're going to go ahead and group them together, and you put them on your fortress like so. Okay. What's next? Okay, so now we do so that was the prep phase, and now we do the onslaught phase. Now this onslaught phase repeats again and again and again until there's no minions left. Okay, the heroes don't count towards that, just that there's no minions left. Now, if the enemy has no minions and no heroes left, and we still have minions left, our heroes go into what's called camp mode. So they're going to camp, meaning that we don't get to move our heroes anymore. Our heroes are only active for as long as they have units that are also active. So I guess it prevents us from running away with the game, right? Because our heroes stayed alive, so now we're going to just wreck the whole board because they have no units left. So anyways, that's an issue. So here we go. We go first, and what happens is we start our turn and we do all of these phases, and then they go and do all these phases, and it's just back and forth, back and forth. All right. So at the start of our turn, we do movement, and then Spires Fire, and then exploration, and then attack. Okay. The movement is quite simple. We either start with the hero first or last. The hero can never go in between minion moves. So we can choose to go before the minions, or we can choose to go after the minions. I'm going to choose to go after the minions, and the minions must move their full movement. So he has to move 2 spaces, and it always has to progress to the fortress. Now, they do not have to be efficient, meaning that as long as I progress at least 1 space towards the fortress, I can actually waste movement points by going in different directions. So you can be a little creative there. But bear in mind, this unit has no terrain marker on it, so this unit is restricted to walking only on the path, and therefore it has no choice but to take those 2 steps. Now, we could have moved our hero here in 2 steps and blocked our minion, but I chose not to do that. Now, my hero can move on any terrain, and I could move 1, 2 like this, but you can't move while this is here. This is considered a blocked terrain while it's there, but if this were to be gone and it was an empty space like that, for sure you can move right through, no problem. So with the hero, I have a couple choices. I could try to go, and you do not have to progress with the hero. You have full control over where you move. So I could move to here. I don't know if there's an advantage, but I'm going to go ahead and do it anyways, so I'll go ahead and move 1 space to there. All right, so the next thing we do is the Spires Fire. This spire here has a range of 3, 1, 2, 3. Remember, they always have a range of 1, no matter what, and these 2 additional tokens give them another +1. So he can't hit anything, and neither can he. The other thing is this particular one has what's called an elfin and 3 roost. So 1 elfin, 3 roost. So what that means is you take an elfin Kazi, one of them, and he's going to basically roost. If you see here, there's an actual nest on top of the spire. So basically, this elfin Kazi lives on the nest. And he has 1 health, and he's going to have 3 roosts, which means that this elfin Kazi, it's a unit, mind you, not a spire, it'll move 3 spaces and attack anything that's around. And he has Glide Bomb, not Gilda Bomb, Glide Bomb. And Glide Bomb, it means that he's going to kill himself. So he basically kamikazes himself, and he does 2 damage to everything around him. Now, there's some special rules with that, and it's in here. So for example, the elfin is the elfin Kazi on the Glide Bomb side. That's how I know we use the Glide Bomb side, versus the save side, which is the other side. Also, it triggers if this unit used Roast Roam to move and is adjacent to an opposing unit after its movement, so it will blow itself up. It will only use its Roost Roam if it's able to move adjacent to a hero. So basically, if I have a unit within range, he's going to just stay put in the nest. He's waiting for a hero to blow up. Okay, so that's what he's going to do. Let's keep going here. We did our movement. The Spires can't attack. Next is Exploration. Exploration is something only we do. The AI does not explore. Exploration is as simple as we get to peek at this, and we can choose not to reveal it. So we're going to peek, and it is a wasp that has no attack at all. We're going to go ahead and reveal it, and it has 2 health. And so we'll go ahead and put that wasp here. And if we defeat the wasp, we gain 3 source. You can see that there. So I'm going to leave that there. And so now we move on to our next step, which is attack. The minions must attack. They don't get a choice. They have to attack something if they can attack something. You're never allowed to refuse to attack. So in this case, this minion has a range of 2. He's going to go ahead and attack the wasp. And the wasp gets hit for... Oh, actually, hold on a second. We get to choose if the minion's going to... We get to choose the order of the attack. And so we're going to attack with Cram the Mighty. Now, even though this guy has no attack value, he has what's called Relentless. And if you look that up in the book, he rolls this die until he gets either a blank or a 2. And everything that he rolls gets added up cumulatively. So he could do a buttload of damage, these wasps. So if we were to attack with the dispatch first, we would only do 1 damage, and then he would get to retaliate and roll this die again and again and again. And I'll just roll it. We're not doing this action, but I'll just roll it to show you how it would work. So I would have rolled a 1, that's 1 damage, there's 2 damage, and there's 2 more damage. So he finally stops after 4 damage. That would have killed our dispatch. So that would have been an awful move. But we're going to attack with our hero, who does 2 damage here, and this guy only has 2 health. When you kill somebody outright, they don't get to retaliate. So you got to be using your noggin a little bit. There's a lot of strategy here. So these grill wasps get destroyed without ever getting to counterattack. And like I said, they give us 3 source, and more importantly, our hero is going to get to level up. So we give ourselves 3 source. So it's a little annoying, so I actually like keep it so it's not fully inside. And our hero gets to level up. And I don't know if I talked about this in the last video, but the hero has 2 pips here. So they have to get 2 upgrades before they flip over to their promoted side. So we're going to get our first of 2 upgrades, and I'm going to grab an attack upgrade. So now our hero will do 3 damage instead of 2. And I know it's off camera there, so there we go. 3 damage instead of 2. And let me zoom out a little. So that's what this allowed us to do. The getting the hero to upgrade like that was awesome. All right, so we're at the end of our turn. So now it's their turn. So they go 1, 2, 3, 4. There's no spires to attack them. There's nothing for them to attack. Their turn's over. And remember, when we say them, we're also including this guy. This guy is counting as part of but he has nothing in range that he can attack. So we're still in wave 1. Wave 1 has not ended. So we're going to keep going. And I apologize, I have to sneeze. Oh, thank you. All right, so now it's back to us again. And we got start of our turn, which we get 2 possible build actions. We have 3 source now, so we could actually build something for 3 source. We could construct a spire for 3 source. So I'm actually going to do that. And what I'm going to construct is a drilling outpost with a mining capability. And I'm going to construct it back here on our fortress here. And so that spends our 3 source. And let's look up real quick what the drilling ability does, and you'll see why I did this. Oh, it's here somewhere. Why don't I see it? Oh, mining ability. I'm sorry, mining. At the end of the wave, you may return this spire to your barracks to gain 6 source. So we spent 3 and we're going to get 6 at the end of the wave. That's awesome. That's like free source. So that's what I'm going to do. I built a little mining. This mining thing doesn't do any attacks, nothing. It does have one fortification. So it's basically just a defensive thing. And then if it survives until the end of the wave, which I'm planning on having it do, then I can turn it in, put it back into my pool, and I'll have 6 source instead of 3. So I basically got money for nothing, chicks for free. Remember, when you're in your the start of the Onslaught phase, you get 2 limited build actions where you can construct or upgrade a spire. So what we just did is we constructed, and so we used one of our 2 actions. If I can somehow get 3 more source, I'm going to build another mining tower, and then we'll get 12. And that's how we're going to get some source going in this game. Let's get some income going. Let's keep going here. And remember, we are forced to move. So this guy has to move 2 spaces closer to his objective. And then we are not forced to move with him, but I'm going to move him anyways. And I'm going to move 1, 2, like so. Okay. All right. So now that we did that, we have the Spires Fire. Well, now we got all kinds of stuff happening. We got this one is in range of the hero. And in fact, maybe I wanted to do something different with the hero, like go 1, 2, like this. So that way he doesn't get fired upon. And I think that's what I'm going to do for now. I'm going to maybe hold the hero back a little bit. And so this one can fire on him and this one can fire on him. That is a possibility. And do I really want to be that chicken with my hero? You know what? I'm going to move the hero here. Let's be bold. So this one will attack the hero, and this one will also attack the hero. And here's why. How do we know why? The Spire attack priority is the opposing hero if it can defeat it, the minion if it can defeat it, and then the opposing hero it can damage. And this is the part where the rules get a little wonky. But my hero is armored, so if I roll this for the Spire, the hero takes no damage, but he can take damage if I roll this. A 1 in 6 chance. But since he can, the AI rules are that they're going to try. Now, the AI rules don't get into this scenario of calculating the odds, and you could argue that, hey, they should attack him instead because they're a much higher chance of doing damage. That's not what the rules tell you to do. The rules don't specify anything, in fact, on this. So that's the part that's weird about it. But they can do damage to the hero, so I'm going to leave it so they will attack the hero. The other thing that's going to happen is when the AI takes their turn, this Elfin Kazi is for sure going after our hero, and that is definitely a problem. So what I'm hoping to do this round is get this tower destroyed and maybe even that one. That's my goal, but we'll see what happens here. It's a tough goal. So let's keep going. What's next? We did our movement. The spires need to fire. So I'm going to roll 2 dice because they're both attacking the hero. They both have the same amount of attack. In how much attack do they have? They have 1. So they're going to roll 1 die. And if you look over here, he only has 1. So they're both rolling 1 die. They both have the same rules. Unless they roll this 2, they're not hitting our hero. And I rolled a 1 and a blank. So no damage is done to the hero from the spires. So now we get to do exploration. So let's see what we have here from Santa. It is a Traxier Roughneck with an engage keyword. I don't know what engage means. So they have landmark talents. This is a generic player aid that says landmark talents. This is where you go for, this landmark must be revealed, so I don't get a choice. If a unit can attack this landmark during its attack stage, it must do so. So my hero is stuck attacking him, which is actually a problem because he, if I remember, he's going to do some damage. He does 2 damage, so he's going to damage our hero. And he has 5 health. So we're stuck engaging this guy. I guess he's just not going to let us just walk right by him. So that's what I get for exploring. But you know what? First playthrough, I didn't know that I could be ambushed like that. But our hero is going to definitely take some damage, but I think we're going to survive this. Okay, so now it's time for our attack. So this guy has 2 range, and he does 1 damage. So I could damage him, who has 5 health, and I'm going to do 3 damage to him. It's not enough to kill him, so I'm not going to worry about it. Instead, what I'm going to do is I'm going to focus on my objective and attack this. So he's going to attack 2 range away. He does 1 damage. And as long as it's not a fortification, you get to remove the bottom one for 1 damage. So I'm going to kill the bottom one, and his range just got reduced by 1. And the spire is 1 step closer to being destroyed. So well done there. And unfortunately, though, that's the end of our attacks. Oh, now he has to attack. It's not a choice. So I'm going to do 1, 2, 3 damage to him. And then he's going to retaliate and do 2. The armored blocks 1. So I take 1 damage. And there we go. We're at the end of our attack phase. So now we move to the AI. And the AI is going to move 1, 2, 3, 4, like so. That's not a range guy. But then the Elfin Kazi is going to come in, and he's going to move 2, and he does 2 damage to the hero, which is going to turn into 1 because we're armored. But he does 2 damage to this guy, which really hurts. But the Elfin Kazi gets destroyed, and you can see here that that is 2 source. So we're going to get 2 source for that. So I'm going to move ourselves. We're now up to 2 for the turn. So I hope that made sense. This was his health point. Elfin Kazi kamikazed himself. So now we go back to the next turn. So once again, my minion must move and progress. And he has to use full movement points, and he does not have the ability to move in any other terrain. So I could go 1, 2 like this if I wanted, but I have to make sure that the number of hexes improves. So let's look at this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 6, 7. So I did not improve it, so not allowed to do that. I am allowed to do this if he was blocked, but he's not blocked, so he has to go here, which puts himself in a precarious situation where he's probably going to die. And that's fine. And then I'm locked up here. I guess I could move away, but I'm ready to kill this guy, and killing him sounds fun, so I think I'm going to do that. And so I'm going to just stay where I am to kill him, because that'll be it's a guarantee kill. And what do I get for killing this guy? He gives me a free tower, or spire. That's what that is. That little symbol there is a spire. I get to build 1 spire free of cost. So that's our move, and now the spires get to attack. This one is still going to attack the hero, so let's do that. Oh, and he did 2 damage, so the hero actually takes 1. That hurts. That hurts a lot, actually. This one down here can't reach the hero anymore because his range got reduced by 1. So now he's going to attack the dispatch, and we roll, and I rolled a blank. So the dispatch survives that. However, I got another tower here, the refuge, that has a range of 3, as you can see, and he rolls 2 attack dice, and the chances of him surviving this are minimal. And there it is, 1 damage to him. So this guy is killed. Now, in a player versus player, he would have gotten 3 source from us, but the AI does not use source. So then what happens is this guy now pops out, and he gets 3 health, and now he's in the game. And remember, we're at the Spire phase. So when we move to the attack phase, he will get to attack. Now, had the Spire, let's say, rolled this and did 2 damage, and the guy only had 1 health, the second damage does not go to this guy. This guy is considered to be like, okay, this phase of the game ends, and so he becomes active now from here on out. So if some other tower still needed to attack him, then he could have taken damage. So the fact that the first tower missed was actually a blessing, because even though this tower hit, by missing with this one, this guy is sitting at full health instead of partial health. So that's pretty cool. Towers don't retaliate when you attack them because they get to attack first, of course. This guy will get to retaliate, and of course so does a landmark. Okay, so now it's time for our attack. I'm going to go first with my hero, and as you can see, I'm going to obliterate this guy, and we get a free spire as a result. So our spires are limited. We don't have the upgraded spires yet, but I could build a drilling outpost, which will give me more source. That's something, but I am actually going to move towards this. Let's get a dispatch platform that has splash. There's also the siege tower, but we can't build that yet. So the dispatch platform has splash. So I think splash is going to be what it seems like. But let's make sure. When attacking, this target or spire may additionally deal 1 damage to all units adjacent to the target. So we're going to do that, and it has 1 attack and 1 range. Like so. So this is not a bad spot for that, and so now we're cooking with butter. Okay, so the Battleborn is going to attack, and he only has a range of 1, so he can only attack this, and he does 1 damage. So we now destroyed the final range for that tower, and his turn's over. Even if he would have done 2 damage, it still would have only removed 1 at a time. And that, I believe, is it for me. So now we move to their turn. So their turn is obviously going to move, and these are the only units to move, and they need to move 4 spaces. Well, they can only move 1. And you can see here that there's no terrain for them to move on, so they have to stay on the path, and they're blocked by the Battleborn. So they're going to move and then stop. Next thing that happens is the Spires attack. This Spire has a range of 2, a natural 1 plus 1 more, and the Harrier just moved out of the range, so this Spire doesn't get to hit anything, which is unfortunate. It would have been nice to get a hit on him. So then we move on to exploration. The AI never explores, so just bear in mind that. So now this guy is going to attack him, and you can see here he does 2 damage. And that 2 damage is brutal, but we get hit, and then we retaliate and do 1 damage back, like so. And that's that for him. The fact that our hero has taken so much damage is very problematic. It does level up because we destroyed a unit. So I do get to grab another level up for him. So I'm going to add another attack. So he's now leveled up twice. And that brings an end to the AI's turn. Okay, so now we have a situation where it goes back to us. I don't think this guy's going to survive enough to do an attack because he's going to get attacked by towers everywhere. But we'll see. I mean, there's a chance, but it's a low chance. Our hero is extremely low in health. If we lose our hero, we are immediately losing the scenario. So if I charge in with him, I'm taking a big risk. So I could try to use him more for a defensive measure, and I think that's what I'm going to have to do. So I think I may move the hero backwards a space just to relax. Yeah, I think I'm going to have to do that. I would really have loved to have taken out one of these towers in the first wave, but I don't think I'm going to get to. This tower is going to constantly be able to attack us, and we're moving to a new round. So guess who came back? Mr. Elfinkazi here is back. So he's going to do an automatic 1 damage to our hero. if, because he's going to kamikaze in, and that's not cool. So we're on our movement phase. He can't move, and I got to move him out of the range of the Elfenkazi. So what I'm going to do then is I'm going to move like this, 1, 2, or I could have just done 1, 2. It doesn't matter. This keeps us out of the range of those towers. And I'm also out of range of this tower, because as you notice, this tower no longer has any range tokens. So I'm safely sitting here. I'm not going to get attacked. So now we just have to deal with the fact that the towers are going to fire. And all 3 of them are going to attack this guy because he's the only one in the range. So I'll start with the high rise first. And it was on its side. It's on its, oh, come on. I got to stop rolling on the, there we go. So there's the 1 damage. So yes, the Battleborn dies and off it goes. So the turn ends. We don't get to do any attacks. Nothing else happens. So now it goes to the AI and their turn. And this guy has to move 1, 2, 3, 4 like that. So he's moving his full movement because he's going for our fortress. He wants to destroy our fortress. And here you can see our spires get to attack and we do a 1. And so we did 1 damage to him and we killed him and we got 1 source for that. So that puts us up to 3 source now. And this is a big deal because now it's our turn. We're at the start of our turn. Remember, we did 1 of our 2 builds. I'm going to spend those 3 source, and we're going to build ourselves another mining tower over here. And that one is going to hopefully stay alive for us. And then at the end of the round, we will gain 12 source instead of 6. And then as far as movement goes, well, this guy gets a new set of health, which is 2. And as far as movement goes, we're going to go 1, 2, like this. And then there's no towers to attack us. And then I'm going to attack with my hero, which does the 2 damage and kills another one. And we get another source for that, so we're moving up to 1. And the hero gets to level up again. So when he levels up a second time, he goes to the promoted side. So from here he had 5 health, 2 attack, 2 movement, and now he has 6 health, 2 attack, 3 movement, and so he's promoted. Now I need to check real quick. I thought I read something crazy about how they lose their upgrades when they promote, but it might be the units that do and not the... So let me check that real quick. I think it's page 23. A unit, when it's promoted to the side with the star, loses any upgrade chips on it. If it is promoted during the Onslaught phase, the unit is granted the difference in health chips from its basic side's health stat to its promoted side health stat, if any. Okay, so I would consider, is the hero a unit? That's the next question. It's a minion or a hero, yes. So the hero is considered a unit, so he loses his 2 upgrades, which is painful. But he does get an extra health because his difference in health was from a 5 to a 6. So he has to now basically level up again in order to get those upgrades back. And then of course the Harrier now becomes active like this, but yeah, technically, no, we're good. So our turn is over. So now it's their turn, and he can't progress. So here's where he wants to go, 1, 2, 3. This is the same 1, 2, 3. You know, so he could move to there, but it doesn't matter. But we'll go ahead and move him there anyways. And we're in his way. And so what is he going to attack? Well, there's a priority for him. The opposing fortress gate Opposing hero it can defeat, which it can't. Opposing Spire it can defeat, which it can't. Opposing faction, landmark, hero it can damage, and then Spire it can damage. So it does want to attack the hero, and so it will. It does 2 damage, so our hero takes 1, but our hero retaliates and does 2 damage back, and we do destroy him, and we get to promote. So I'm at 2 source for killing him, and we get to promote our hero, so I'm going to go ahead and add a attack. Now, I think the wave immediately ends now that this happens. The Elfin Kazi doesn't count towards the minion count. The one unfortunate thing, and I sort of wanted him to attack our tower instead, was if I would have had the ability to move my hero back to the fortress, he heals all the way. Now, he's out for the rest of the wave, but he at least gets to heal. And the fact that I'm down to 2 health means that for wave 2, I'm in trouble. And but anyways, that brings us to the end of the first wave. And then I'm going to go ahead and hit stop here. And I do want to check to see if anything does happen to the hero between waves. But I'm pretty darn sure that this ends the wave. And so I'll go check my, my rules on what happens. I'm pretty sure that these 2 mining are going to go away and give us 12 source, which is awesome. And thanks for watching. Stay awesome, and I'll see you in a few minutes.